Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be watercoloring this panel that I sketched out, and I'm going to redo this heart right here because it wasn't it wasn't big enough, like overtaking the other line of the envelope, so I wanted to make that more prominent. I'm going to link Ellen Crimmy Trent. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Her video down below where she painted 3 watercolor Valentine's cards, and this was one of them, this idea, and so I got the idea from her, very much so. I'll be stamping a sentiment on mine as well. But yeah, I'll link her video down below so you can see all the 3 cards that she made, and then I'm just using my kneaded eraser to lift up most of the pencil so that it doesn't show so much through the watercolor. But so that I can still see the lines to paint within them, if that makes sense. And yeah, so you won't be able to see the lines very well, as you can see there. I've mixed up 4 pinkishy, purpley colors. I'm going to show you from the Paul Rubens 48 palette. It is these 4, plus I added some white to each one. I wanted to lighten them up a little bit. So all 4 of them have white mixed in as well. And yeah, so I'm going to start with pink, and I'm going to be painting the envelope pink. I think this pink I only use on the envelope, so the other 3 colors go towards all the hearts. I'm using the Princeton Snap. I don't reach for the 2, so I am just using the 6 the whole time. This has kind of become my favorite brush, the number 6 Princeton Snap that came in a set. I'm going to link the set I purchased down below just in case you want it, and also the paints. I believe I got this palette, the ceramic palette, on Amazon as well, so if I find it there, I will link that too. And I also have a video. I had done a bunch of watercolor Wednesdays. I have a video on why I recommend a ceramic palette to work with and why I'm not working in the lids of the metal palette that I just showed you. And so when you're watercoloring and you want the lines to kind of be prominent, like where shadows would be, you'll need each of the sections to dry. So you want to paint sections like one after the other that are not touching each other. Because if I had painted like the bottom triangle of the envelope right after the left and the left hadn't dried yet, then the color and the water and the color, everything would have bled into the left one because it was still wet, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of trying to touch places. These just meet at a very corner tip, so I figured that was safe. Paint places that are not touching for right now so that we can get that line definition between each section of the envelope, if that makes sense. If I recall, she covers that in her video as well, on why you want to paint different sections that are not touching. And then obviously I'm going around the hearts. The hearts are going to be a different color, so I'm just painting the lines. And just based on the nature, since those 2 are now dry, I'm going to go do the bottom one. Based on the nature of watercolor and how it kind of just dries and you'll see darker lines along the edges, basically, helps it create those natural shadow lines. I'm also going to extend the bottom of this one here because I did a loose pencil sketch. I wasn't using a ruler or anything like that, but I think it looks kind of more artsy that way, a little more whimsical or realistic. I don't know. So while that bottom triangle dries, I'm going to color in a couple of the hearts that are not touching with the purple color. These mostly stayed pretty close to pinky red, so that's kind of a pinky purple. But it is still a purple, but I think they go good together once this is complete. And I can go outside of any pencil lines to kind of fix the heart that I had drawn. I believe her hearts were a little skinnier, which kind of makes sense. They're kind of like flying out of the envelope, so they're They're skinny like a ghost would be flying out. Mine are probably more fatter, but that's fine. And then I use more of the magenta color for a couple hearts. And now that the top section of the envelope is dry, we can paint this heart in. And I'm using the pinky magenta-y color here as well. And I extended this one out a little bit because it got a little flat on that side. And then for the inside heart, we're going to do red. Sorry, I paused there. I'm hearing things outside my window, but I think it just started hailing, which would explain the sound. You probably can't hear it, but I can. And it just sounds like someone's throwing popcorn at my window. I'm not sure. So we're going to fill in this one red. So this is the only heart I used red on. Wait, no, that's a lie. I think I use it. It's because I erased them so much that I can't see the couple other hearts up there. I do use red elsewhere. And then I don't know if I extend the right side of that big red heart. It looks a little flat on the right, but I'm not sure that I do. But I do want to let it dry before I paint the inside of the envelope. So I ended up pausing for a little bit. You can see it dry very quickly to let that dry because it wasn't going to dry. I'm not just going to sit and watch it dry or make you watch that. So I just paused and let it sit for a little bit. So then I'm filling in the inside of the envelope, which is just naturally going to be darker because it's the inside of an envelope. So all the shadows would be in there. So once I fill this in, while it's still wet, I can add more paint and just kind of push it towards the corners. I'll show you what I mean when I'm done filling in the base layer here on both sides. You just want to be very careful and make sure the other item you're painting around is dry. So then in here, I can pick up more paint and just kind of feed it into the corners where more shadows would be. You're just kind of dropping in more paint, if that makes sense. And then since I was done and I wanted to stamp a sentiment, I needed to put this in my Misty. I do bring out the heat gun to finish drying it a little bit quicker, which forcing the dry a little bit faster could, I'm not actually sure. I haven't done a test on this, but it could even make those dark corners even darker by kind of forcing the paint into the corner with the heat gun. So, and then I flipped it over because I curled it by heating it so that I could curl it the other direction, because I am going to put this onto a card base or stick it down. So I'm going to put this in my Misty, make sure it's in the corner in case I need to stamp this sentiment from Sugar Pea Designs. We're just going to use the Happy Valentine's Day and just line it up with the bottom of the envelope. I think that looks really cute. I do only end up needing to stamp it once, probably because I just opened this ink pad last night, so it's new, which is what I wrote on the bottom of it, new, so I know which one it is. And I ended up liking the first stamp, and it was perfect, so I didn't need a second one. So then I am going to get out my tape gun and put an insane amount of tape runner onto the card base so that this heavier watercolor cardstock sticks down properly. So if you are not an adhesive abuser, please ignore the amount of adhesive on this card base. So yeah, I'm just going to stick that to the card base, and there you go. So if you do this, or if you want to sketch in watercolor, tag me or let me know. And I hope you had fun watching, and go check out Ellen's video. I'll link that down below. And thank you for hanging out with me today. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Everything is linked down below. And thanks for watching. Bye.